absolute fresh bunker. It's one that you've been requesting. It's Tour Truck Tuesday. We got a peach of a morning here at the Kingdom. How you guys doing? The long bunker shot, not one to be scared of, but it is tricky. Before we get going, I'm gonna need some of these to show you what I'm talking about and the method at which I'm talking about. But be aware, as soon as you walk into the trap, step down, start to feel, first off, great rake job, right, by the guys here at the Kingdom, but walk down and start to feel it. If someone's raked the bunker correctly, they'll be like this. It's got ridges going towards the flag out there, so you're not too concerned. But you're gonna feel under your feet the texture of the sand. And I've put this alignment stick down in this case because this is a trap shot where you wanna stand a bit more square. Think about the way these wedges are made. If you've got, and I'll just do this with my high toe at the moment, if you've got a situation where you want to play a softer bunker shot, well, you're going to want to reveal the back of the high toe, aren't you? You're going to want to reveal where the toe moves away and there's relief, because that then reveals the back of the bounce. That way you can slide the back of the bounce under and you can play a golf shot that's going to pop out for you and be soft. So if you imagine if we weren't going for the long trap shot and I just wanted to pop one out, I'd lay the blade open. Now I like to get down low in the sand. Had a little bit of criticism on this before when it comes to teaching, but I'm not going all the way down, but I'm feeling where the low point is on the sand because I'm gripping it down a little bit. Now this is for the shorter bunker shot and to show you the design of the wedge. And if I'm flipping one out, look how open that is. Look at the blade. I now am going to use all the back of that bounce and I'm just going to pop one up, pop one high, play a high trap shot. If you're going to do that again, you're going to hit it shorter, swing can be shorter, slower, and there you go. Now, I'm hardly hitting the golf ball there. I'm striking quite a long way behind it, and the bounce is pushing everything away. But when it comes to the longer one, and this is the 30-yarder, I'm not going to stand as open. I'm going to pay more attention to my alignment stick in this scenario that is down at the target. When you practice out the traps as well, try and re-rake every time you do it, or every third or fourth time. You don't just want to be pulling balls, pulling balls, pulling balls. So in we go, recreated pretty much the spot. Notice again how you roll it in. Don't place it in. We're not practicing plug lies. Roll it in. That's going to be more realistic. Stand a little bit more square. Now don't go as deep because obviously I'm not gripping down as much, and don't open the blade as much because you're not looking to push as much sand out the way. Short one, more left, open it, hit behind it, push the sand out the way. Longer one, stand squarer, don't open it as much, get your footing, but don't be too concerned about going too deep, because as you've walked into the trap, you've understood how deep the sand is. Then, and this is where the tough part comes, judge how far you have, get a feel for the shot by looking at it. Often trap shots are uphill. This one, fortunately, look, we're off a level lie. Sometimes they're uphill and the slope is uphill. We'll tackle that in a minute. There's no lip, everything in my favor. Not too tough a trap shot. It's 29 yards. I measured it earlier. Wouldn't normally get a yardage for this, but trying to give you a feel. Blade not open as much. Gonna get a little bit tighter in behind the ball. Weight is a little bit on the left side so I can hit down on it. Then I don't want to get too technical. I want you guys to be you. And I want you to play one that comes out. It will grab because you're putting more speed in it. When you put more speed on it, when your weight is a little bit on the left side, providing you turn and you turn, I don't want to exhaust you with information, but providing you turn and you turn, the strike is good. It goes up the face. Yes, I'm pulling a little bit left, but it's not much. You can actually see here, there's the divot line, and it is fairly parallel, maybe 1 or 2 degrees left, don't know what angle you're on, to my alignment stick. So I'm not pulling as far left as I might on the short ones. The next thing I will say on technique, when I play the short ones, the head goes outside of the hands, and I like to pull left and flick under. If it's a really short one, outside, pull left and flick under. That's what I like to do. But when I play the longer one, again, I'm getting close now to needing to re-rake. It's important. I know it seems like a ball ache, but it's important. Otherwise, you're just practicing stuff that's not gonna help. So again, get it nicely how you want it. Make sure the marks are in there. Wet sand, be a bit more aggressive. A lot of information here, I know. Roll one in. Don't make it too easy. Roll it in. Okay, good. Playing the longer one, don't worry about head out the hands and flick under. You literally just want to get in there, wait on the left side, play one up there. Now that was hit a little bit heavier, but the speed was in there. So let's talk options. Let's talk shots that are, yeah, that's a longer trap shot. It's not that tough though, really. So what I want you to do when you get in here, if there's no lip like this, think about your bag. And I've bought everything, 8 iron, 9 wedge, all my wedges. This one I wouldn't mind playing the 60 because it's a little bit up a hill. The hill makes it tricky, but I'd consider other clubs. I'd consider for this one, to make it easier on myself, a 56. But I'm gonna see, just for the example, if I can play it with a 52. There's a ridge, so that's tougher, but I want to land it a bit shorter. Now, open up a little bit left. You do have to open the blade up a bit because of the way the wedge is designed. There's not as much bounce going on at the back. There's not as much heel relief because this club is more designed for full shots. So you need to open it a little bit. I'm not gripping it really tight. Take some of the speed out. You can also, if you're worried about the strike, hit this one a bit heavier. Heavier meaning a little bit more sand. And run it up. That was clean, way too clean. Get in there. That's a great example. And run it up. Played heavier and ran it up. It's a tough shot. You're gonna make mistakes like I did on the first one. That's why you're here on the practice ground. That's why you're here working on it. The room for mistakes on this is actually pretty small. You're gonna watch 1001 teaching videos where they say to you, draw a line in the sand, practice the entry point, practice hitting that point. You see 1,000 of them. But I'm trying to tell you about how the club is made, where the forgiveness is, and how you just lay less loft, run it up. That's a good one. That's a good 52-degree shot, good distance. Pulled a little left because I'm pulling left because again, that's my subconscious. Then what I want you to do, and I used to do this as a kid, get your 8 iron out. Your 8 iron is a great club for practicing your short game with, a fantastic club. Because if you think about someone who has step patterns in the shafts, the step on the 8 is far enough away to make the tip feel soft. Step patterns are when the steps of the steel are outside. Bad example because this is my rifle shaft that I play, but you see here on my 56, the first step, this is all feel. Obviously on a 56-degree wedge, you can see the hosel is longer than my 8 iron. It's feel. When the first step is further away, it's feel. So when I first got on the tour, there were a few players out there of that generation that put 8 iron shafts into wedges because the long distance of that tip, that first step, gave them more feel. Why have you grabbed an 8? Because it's good for short game. It gives you good feel. Also, as you play an 8 iron, you can then start to imagine the shots. You can play this one and open it up. Ball position forward, aiming a little bit left. Feel it. Comes out much quicker, look. That one spun for me because I was tight to the golf ball. But where the 8 iron comes in is if we flip to that longer shot. Yardage I gave you from where you guys are at, it's around 45, 46 yards. But this is where you see it on the short one, I don't need the speed. Now let's turn and look at the longer one that might be intimidating for some of you. So when you come into your mid 40-yard range. It's 46, I think, from where you are. So it's going to be about 40 yards. Distance doesn't matter, though. This has to be feel. And why doesn't distance matter? Why is it a case of you can't just put your wedge swing on that goes 50 yards? Because it's all based on how tight you want to strike to the golf ball. That is the variable in this. That's why I'm trying not to give you too many coaching thoughts, because it's very difficult to calculate where you want to hit the sand, but there comes an element of feel. Rake marks are at the flag. That's in my advantage. If they're across, you might not get as great a lie as that. There's not much upslope in the trap. That doesn't help. I touched on earlier, I'll cover that. Here it is. Traps that have upslope, you're going to take less loft because you're going to hit up on the slope. Your spine angle will move with an upslope. Therefore, you're tilting back. Therefore, you're adding dynamic loft. It's going to come out higher. So a shot like this, I don't have to put too much pace in. The 8-iron might not be perfect for this, but I want to show you the example that if you're scared of it and you're scared of that mid 45-yard range, just play a heavy one. Heavy being just strike it a long way back, aim a little bit left. This shot dictates it because it runs in a bit from the left, and just, see, look at that. I mean, who can't do that? That's a heavy struck running down there, 8-iron. That isn't a glory, get in behind the thing and zip it up high and spin it. Leave that for the boys on the TV. But you might come to a point where you have a lip in front of you. You might be faced with that. So you are going to have to reach for the 52 or the 56. Practice it. This one, you're going to have to get tighter in there to the back of the ball. Fly this one over that lip. Wait a little bit on the left side. Feet have now gone a little bit further left. Why? Because I don't have any bounce really on the back of that. But on the back of this 52, all of this camber back here, all of that is bounce. That bounce, just like I played you that early one, the little flop up, is going to push the sand out the way. So it's an easier club to use out of here. So again, it's just a case of getting your yardage, be a bit more aggressive on it, land, spin. That was zipping back off the fringe. It's not a bad result though, is it? Not a bad shot from 45 yards. And all I've done is get a little bit more aggressive with it, a little bit more speed. You don't have to try and fancy-dancy spin it, not unless you're playing that little floppy one out of the trap here. Tough to do with a 52, but lower with the hands if you want to try and do it. Up. If you're playing that little floppy one, you have to go underneath and you have to strike back here and let the bounce do the work. But if you're playing these longer bunker shots, I recommend practice with, I have 6 golf clubs here. 3 of them are wedges, the rest of them are set clubs. Practice, figure out your yardages. Try and find one that doesn't have a ridge that you have to carry, because that kind of kills our 8-iron shot. One that you can run up. If you've got a lip in front of you, go for more loft. If you're playing off an upslope, use more loft. Key things, more loft off an upslope, goes higher, lands softer. But try to get a feeling for if you are gonna hit tight behind the golf ball, or if you're just gonna give it a bit of space and play that one that just moves in and runs down. That was a good strike. Probably would have had a bit of spin on it, but I was trying to hit it a bit heavier and give yourself some leeway. It is a very difficult golf shot, but it's probably not as difficult as we as golfers make out. If you understand a little bit about the design, if you're using your wedges and revealing the back bounce, it's going to push the sand out the way. If you're going to play a set club to play it, you don't have to put as much speed in, you don't need to be as accurate, and you can play them heavy, but that's pretty much all you can do. If you start getting tight with that 8-iron to the ball, it's going to come off like rockets. Not going to be easy. Good luck with it. Let me know how you go. Any questions? There's a lot of information there. Remember, try and think about it as a player. Yeah, I know the equipment stuff's great, and yeah, I know the tuition's great, but I'm trying not to give you too much info. There has to be a bit of feel. You will have to put some time into this one. If you like what you see, and subscribe, tell your mates. Always a good thing. More the merrier. Till next Tour Truck Tuesday, hope this works.